Well, today I am talking about the sequel to the game of dice in the Mahabharata. In my previous video lecture, I narrated the game of dice. I told that in the game of dice, the Pandavas lost their wealth, brothers, and everything that they possessed. They lost the game of dice to Duryodhan. Duryodhan, who was represented by his maternal uncle, uh, won the dice and the Pandavas had to lose. But after the game was over, it was announced that it was just a game of dice and the Pandavas would get restored what he lost. This announcement was made by Dhritarashtra, father of Duryodhan. But this could not serve the interest, the purpose of Duryodhan behind playing the game of dice. So Duryodhan asked his maternal uncle Shakuni to request Dhritarashtra to invite all the Pandavas to the sequel of the dice or to the second game of dice, second play of dice. A messenger is sent to the Pandavas. After hearing the message from the Dhritarashtra, inviting them or inviting the Pandavas to play the second game of dice, there was a debate between the Pandavas or among the Pandavas whether the Pandavas should play the sequel of the dice or not, whether the Pandavas should play the second game of dice or not. Bhim was insisting that the Pandavas should not play the second game of dice because he sensed trouble behind this invitation, behind this request. But Yudhishthir said that when there was an invitation from uh, the uncle from Dhritarashtra, the Pandavas must go to play the game of dice. He argued that number one, he is our uncle, he is the head of the family, and being the head of the family, he invites the Pandavas to play the game of dice, so they must go to play the game of dice. Two, Yudhishthir tells Bhim that it is the righteousness, it is the religion, it is the um, uh, good, it is good in the interest of the Pandavas that they should go to the uh, hall of the assembly or assembly hall to play the game of dice for the second time when they have been invited by their uncle. Three, Yudhishthir thinks that it is not the duty of the warriors to run away from any challenge, any invitation given by the Kauravas. So Yudhishthir decided that the Pandavas should go to the meeting hall, assembly hall, and play the second game of dice, irrespective of what may be the consequences of it. Acting upon the advice of Yudhishthir, all the five brothers, all the five Pandavas go to the meeting hall to play the second game of dice. When they reach there, the game of dice started. Again, uh, Duryodhan's maternal uncle Shakuni is ready to play the game of dice on behalf of Duryodhan. And from the Pandavas side, Yudhishthir, the elder brother of the Pandavas, play the dice again. Now, Shakuni is adept, expert in the game of dice. Whatever uh, beginning he makes, whatever chance he takes, he wins. And Yudhishthir loses chance after chance. Slowly and slowly, Yudhishthir loses all the things which he has again. He waits his brothers one by one. He loses his brothers. He waits his kingdom. He loses his kingdom. Then he waits even his wife, the common wife of all the five brothers, Panchali. He loses even Panchali. And after losing all his brothers, his wife, his kingdom, his everything, Yudhishthir has nothing with him. He loses everything. He loses even his own wife. Now, before the second game of dice starts, Sakuni puts forth a condition. The condition is that if the Pandavas lose in the game of dice, they will have to go to uh, exile for 14 years, and they will have to live 1 year in disguise. The Pandavas had agreed upon this condition. Then the second game of dice started. When Yudhishthir lost all his brothers, all his wealth, even himself and his wife, Duryodhan was jubilant. He was very happy. He asked his brother Dushasan to go to the palace of the Pandavas and bring Panchali to the meeting hall by force. First of all, a messenger goes to the palace of Panchali. The messenger delivers the message that she has been called in the meeting hall because uh, Yudhishthir has lost the second game of dice. But Panchali refuses to go there. She tells the messenger that she will not go there and he should tell the people gathered in the assembly hall that nobody has right to lose Panchali. If Yudhishthir lost his brothers, if Yudhishthir lost himself, how can he stake me? How can he put me to wait? Wait. The messenger comes to the meeting hall. He puts this question before the assembly. All the great warriors such as Dronacharya, Kripacharya, uh, uh, Dhritarashtra, all others, all the warriors were sitting there. But none of them took care of the question that Panchali asked for the members of the uh, hall, meeting hall. Now, when Duryodhan asks Dushasan to go to the palace and bring Panchali by force, by her hair, Dushasan goes to the palace. He takes hold of Draupadi, Panchali, by hair, and he directs Panchali, Draupadi, to the hall of the palace. Now, all the great warriors saw how the Pandava, how the Kauravas were behaving with Draupadi there, how Dushasan had dragged Draupadi from her palace to the meeting hall by her hair, holding her hair. When Draupadi reached there, Duryodhan pats his thigh again and again and asks Draupadi to sit on her thigh before all the great warriors such as Dronacharya, Kripacharya, Dhritarashtra, uh, Bhishma Pitama, and all others. There was one who was younger brother of Duryodhan, who asked the members of the meeting hall to answer the question of Draupadi. But his name is Bikarna. Bikarna requested the members to answer the question of Draupadi, but nobody took care of his request, nobody cared of his move. Uh, all the warriors laughed away his request, his attempt, his move for the answer of Draupadi. Now, not satisfied with this, Dushasan began to disrobe Draupadi in the full view of the assembly hall. Now, all the great warriors, including Pandavas, were helpless. None of them could come forward to save the honor, prestige, and respect of Draupadi. Dushasan began to pull away the sari of Draupadi. Draupadi held Lord Krishna in her mind. She requested Lord Krishna to help her. Now, Lord Krishna began to supply sari after sari, cloth after cloth. Dushasan got tired of pulling down the sari. But the sari never ends. Uh, it looks whether she is a woman amidst sari or she is a heap of sari around a woman. Thus, Draupadi was disrobed, dishonored, disrespected in the full view of the warriors sitting in the meeting hall. After this incident, after this episode, the Pandavas had to go for exile, for banishment, for 14 years and 1 year in disguise. So, all these events, all these things take place in the meeting hall at the time of the second game of dice. Students of uh, first semester has to study the first two books of the Mahabharata, the game of dice, and the sequel of the game of dice. I hope that the students will get sufficient material for their study, for their examination of the first semester. BA first semester uh, under the new education policy, under the new current session, which starts from 2023 to 2027 under 4 year degree course. If you like the lecture, if you like the video, please subscribe it Please encourage me so that I may make more and more video on your courses of study, on your syllabus. Thanks.